Alright guys, so at the time of me recording this, obviously I was number 1, but I did end up doing this video just so I can work on a bunch of other videos, which means I am stuck on number 3, which means I did kind of clickbait, so I do apologize. But if you guys do want to stick around and find out what I use to get number 1 with my best settings, the best setups, and the best HUD to get the best aim, make sure you keep watching and I'll see you guys in the video. Alright guys, so we are going to be starting off with the class setup first, and up on number 1 we do have the Type 25. Now this weapon right here is probably one of my most favorite ones right now, since it is one of the meta guns. I'm actually top 100 in global, which is kind of crazy. Now if you guys do want to use this setup, it is the monolith suppressor, the classic red dot sight, the RTC steady stock, OWC tactical, and the stopping power reload. I would 100% recommend using this build for mid to close range battles. It is also good at long range, so let's get on with number 2. So obviously on number 2 we do also have the Type 25, the same exact setup, but this time it is with persistence. Now fair warning, I am a persistence warrior. I do use persistence, but the game has forced me to do so since all I face now in rank is persistence warriors. So let's get on with number 3. Now up on number 3 we do have something different, and that is the M13, one of my favorite guns when they first came out with the mythic, especially since it does have a broken red dot sight installed for us. Now for the setup, obviously we do use the monolith suppressor, the M13 skeleton stock, the OWC laser tactical, the large extended mag B, and the granulated grip tape, just so I can get that extra ADS bow spread actually for long range distance. Now up on number 4 we do have the one, the only M13, one of the most broken weapons. Now I personally enjoyed using this weapon a lot. Now do I think it needed a nerf? Yes. Do I think it's still viable? Maybe not as much, but nonetheless these are the attachments that I use with the M13. As you guys can see, same old as the other one, I am using the built-in sound suppressor, the agile stock, the infiltrator foregrip, the large caliber ammo, and last but not least the firm grip tape, which I do think is one of the best attachments for this weapon. Up on number 5 is the CBR4, also known as the P90. Now I've not been using this weapon as much. I still think it is okay. I want to say it's top 5 just yet, unless they do some sort of buff with it, but the attachments for this weapon are monolith suppressor, the OWC marksman, the YKM light stock, OWC tactical, and the granulated grip tape. This weapon has a lot of movement, so just be aware of that before you guys do use this. Up on number 6 we obviously do have another M13 setup, but it is the same one as before but with different perks, so let's just get on along with number 7. Now up on number 7 we do have a special one, and that is the sniper. Now I have been sniping for a bit ever since this update has come out, since they did buff it, and it has been the most fun thing to do. Now obviously the attachments I use for this weapon are the OWC light suppressor, the MIP light, OWC skeleton stock, OWC legit tactical, and the extended mag A, which I think is a lot better than the usual large extended mag B. Now this weapon does not really matter if it has a damage drop off, since it is still a one shot, so ignore the OWC suppressor. You don't need a monolith suppressor. Up on number 8 we do have the SVD, which is currently one of the most broken snipers. It's basically an Arctic 50 but kind of better, I would say. Now the attachments for this weapon are the OWC light suppressor, RTC 660mm heavy, the 4x tactical scope, the FMJ, and the 20 round extended mag. On number 9 on our list we do have the OG weapon, which has been in the meta for a while now, and that is the PP19 Bison, which I personally still enjoy using when I want to have fun. Now, obviously for this you guys need to use the monolith suppressor, the MIP extended light barrel, the no stock, OWC tactical, and the large caliber MOA, which is key with this weapon. Now last but not least we do have the Holger, which is still one of the top 5 best weapons in the game and has been for a while now. But for the attachments I would recommend using the monolith suppressor, the MIP light, the classic red dot sight, the no stock, and the OWC laser tactical. And if you guys do have the mythic version of this, I would just recommend taking off the red dot sight and adding the granulated grip tape. Now that we're done with that, let's get on with the settings. Alright guys, so up next we do have the HUD. Now a bunch of settings have been changed since the season 10 update, so bear with me here and let's get on with the video. Alright guys, so as you guys can see right here, these are the buttons that I use and where they're at. Now I will be putting up a drawing just so I can show you guys what I use and where I use what, if that makes sense. Alright guys, so this is my HUD and how I use it. Now a picture is going to be going up on where I use what. It will be labeled as right thumb is going to be RT, right index finger is going to be RI, left thumb is going to be LT, and LI is going to be left index finger. Now I don't know if that makes sense, but if it doesn't, I will be explaining it either way just so you guys can visualize what I mean. Now obviously for my nade button right here and my reload button and these weapon switches right here, I do use my right thumb alongside with using the operator with my right thumb. With my right index finger, I use the crouch, the jump, the scope, the map, and sometimes if I want to, I use the scoreboard button. I just click it with that. Now with my left thumb, I do use the movement pad right here, the plant bomb, the score streaks, and if anything, I do use it to click the scoreboard. And with my left index finger, I also use the aim in button, the chat button, the settings button, and also if I want to, the scoreboard button. Clicking your map is key, so if you guys do want to do that, I do also use my right index finger to click the map, which does help me get info on where enemies are at or where they're coming from. Alright guys, now it is time for the boring stuff, and that is the basic settings. Now this is how I feel most comfortable using my HUD, so pay attention if you guys do want to use the exact copy of my HUD. So I'll just scroll down really slowly and let you guys do whatever, and you guys can feel free to take whatever screenshot. I'm not going to be going through each and every single one of them since it's not really that important. For example, with damage number, I do think that is preference. I do like to have it on since it gives me info on where people are when I wallbang them, or if I throw a nade across the map, I can see where they are since it shows me a damage output through the screen, which I think is pretty helpful. Now anything else that's important, I would say, is the always sprint, which is at 80. This allows me to walk or run depending on how, I guess, far I pull up on my movement pad. Camera FOV is also a preference thing. I like to have it at a good 78, which is a pretty good in-between thing for me. You guys can obviously have it at 90 or even 60, whatever you guys would prefer. Now FOV FPP, I would recommend putting that at 100 if you guys want to have the same feeling of how the game felt like before this update, which made the sensitivity feel different. It basically zooms in or zooms out on your weapon when you're aiming down sights, or if you're just holding it, which I think is pretty important. And the marker settings is really not that important, and none of this stuff is. So let's get on with the audio and graphics. So for graphics, obviously I do have a red magic, so obviously I use ultra and medium graphics since that's the max I can use for a 144 FPS phone. Everything else is kind of useless. Now effects, which is personal preference, is I would say something I enjoy. Now obviously I do use the tactical effect. You guys can see whichever one you guys want to use is what you guys want to use. And obviously get hit, hint is obviously a green for me since that's also a color that doesn't really camouflage with anything, so it kind of gives me info on exactly where I'm getting hit from. And now that we're done with that, let's get on with sensitivity. Now we are in the sensitivity section. Now I do kind of use a weird sensitivity since I do use finger sleeves, so make sure you guys do know that before you guys copy my sensitivity. But I use a 41 speed Excel. Everything else should be a good screenshot for you guys. You guys can feel free to screenshot. As I scroll down, I am going to be going down to firing sensitivity. Now as you guys can see right there, it is pretty low, and as I mentioned before, I do use finger sleeves, so just keep that as a reminder. If you guys are lazy and don't want to slide a thing manually, you guys can honestly just copy my code and paste it and enter it, and you guys will get my sensitivity. But without further ado, if you guys did enjoy that video, if you guys are new, make sure to drop a sub, drop a like, drop a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.